I'm Macshooter49, man. I started making beats around 4 years ago, around this time, and I really locked in due to COVID. So okay, well that's like a weird introduction, but let me just start a few of my placements. I worked with Naruto Wick. I got some unreleased Future, some unreleased Uzi, a bunch of unreleased stuff, but my main drop, is that Naruto record, and a bunch of stuff with Money Man too. So it honestly, it just leaves my mind, but anybody who's watching this, just go see my catalog, man. We do a bunch of content, we drop sound kits, founder of the drum kit. Just kidding. But I do have a pretty nice drum kit catalog. A lot of people use them. So yeah, I really locked in about music. I took it really seriously during COVID. That was around middle school, so I didn't have any real school to just go to. It was online, so now I could just take this music to the next level of having just online school, knock that out, make some music, and that's what really got me as far. So short introduction, but yeah.
That's really cool. So when you say around COVID, like, is that when you fully first started, or what was the turnaround? COVID? Yeah,
I would say I first started in, let me see, like 2019 on Ableton. A few months on Ableton.
Okay.
And then I didn't take it seriously until COVID started.
Right.
So around like in 2020, that's when because it's like this was the only thing that I had to do, because if I wanted to make this a career. But at the time, I didn't really focus on making it a career. I just wanted to do it for fun. But as time moves forward, you just start to transition to like, okay, this is a business I can do. So
right.
That's when I really just started, I started getting into sample making and the sound design. But like I said, it was never forced. It was obvious. It was just more natural than just looking at it like a, nowadays kind of people look at kits. I kind of feel like a cash grab,
right.
like just like, drop a kit, make some money. But
right.
Back then it was really just like, let's just do this naturally and see what this is, because it sounds cool. But yeah, that explains, that answers your question about the seriousness.
100%. Yeah. And starting on Ableton, was there something that dragged you to Ableton first, or was that just kind of where you started and you took it from there?
I didn't know what FL Studio was. I just thought in order to make beats, because I wanted to make beats and like Pierre Bourne, I just wanted to make like Playboi Carti type beats. So I was like, okay, if I want to do that, I got to get this thing called Ableton. So I got that, $99. And then like I started watching Internet Money, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is like what everybody else is using. This is what the people are using. This is what is actually being used for these beats. Like, even though Ableton is a huge market for making beats, FL Studio is just FL Studio. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I was just like, okay, let me go ahead and acquire this FL Studio. And that it wasn't really like anything that dragged me towards it. It was just out of curiosity. So just not knowing, where to make beats just kind of led me to Ableton. And then I just knew FL Studio, and then I actually even tried to get like Studio One or something, which was like, whoa.
Oh no. Yeah.
Shout out to my Studio One users though. So
yeah, like it always looked cool. I just want to always try, but I never tried it. And I think deep down I knew that.
Facts.
Yeah. And deep down I think I knew that like the curve would maybe be a little too much for like did I really want to try it? Like, I don't know,
Yeah, it would just, facts. It would look cool like that, or like some. I think it's like Reactor or something. Is that or no? It's not. It's something else. But
Reason.
Just a bunch of these. Reason. I said Reactor. That's a Kontakt plugin.
No,
but
Reason.
Yeah. Reason. And then there's something else. Logic. I didn't have a Mac, so I obviously couldn't get that. So, but yeah, it was pretty easy just learning the ways around FL Studio though. Like, that's why I really liked it. It was very user friendly, I feel like. Like, I'm still trying to learn Ableton now, because now I know, like, okay, sample making, I really want to just dive deep into, because there's a bunch of new effects in Ableton that FL Studio doesn't have, especially the quantizing your audio, like in the sample. Because like when FL Studio, you just gotta go chop it up and try to put it on the grid. But I learned about the quantizing feature when I'm recording like the audio or something, like a guitar. Just quantize it to be on the grid. I'm like, whoa, instead of doing that with MIDIs, you could just do that with audio files. Like, okay, this is a game changer. So,
bro, the crazy thing about what you're saying is every single time I hear about that feature, I go and I download a trial or I go look into getting Ableton, and I stop myself at every point, and then it happens again. Like I see someone use that feature or bring it up, or like, you know, I do. Ableton is definitely the one thing, like even over Pro Tools. I mean, I've spent some time in Pro Tools, so I know that the learning curve wouldn't be bad for me on Pro Tools, just because I know I've already done that like before. But Ableton, like I keep wanting to do that next. So yeah, I'll have to get into that, man. Ableton looks good. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see. Do you know any resources that would kind of speed up that process, or like not speed up, but
I watch a lot of BNYX live streams.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I've been watching him just for like to see what but I didn't even consider learning Ableton through that. That makes so much sense.
I don't even like watching like tutorials like that. Like, okay, here's what you're supposed. I just want to like kind of learn naturally and look at other people's processes to see like what they do, because that's kind of really how I speed up. Like if I just have to watch like a 30-minute video on Ableton tips and tricks, I'll do that if I have to. But if I can just learn it by myself and to just pick it up by watching other people master it, or other masters of the DAW using it, I'm like, okay, let me just try to do something differently here instead of just following some certain tutorials. Because when I have to like memorize something, I kind of forget. You know, when I know I have to, like, here's the steps and here's these keys to do this. Like in terms of a video, or specifically it's an Ableton tutorial, I may just forget. But I'll just probably pull up somebody cooking up a sample and just watching what they do. They don't even have to show their hotkeys or say what they're doing. Like I just wanna see.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was with me watching his streams. Like I wasn't even considering the Ableton thing. I was just seeing like because I love his production is crazy, man. It's so crazy. And obviously there's a reason right now that he's hot. So like I was just looking at his process. But yeah, looking at that to also just like pick up the Ableton stream, the Ableton process is actually a good way to do it too. But yeah, I just got to dive in, honestly.
Yeah, I always thought like learning more than one DAW would always. It's just like learning more than one instrument. Like you'll have that one instrument that you master, but if you ever go into like let's say you go into a session full of like, like you go into like a whole new session and they're looking for a guitarist, but you're a pianist. Like if you maybe would have learned both, you could have both those opportunities to increase your chances of just. Bless you. Increase your chances of, you know, maybe getting a record or working with this extra person. So I'm like, if I know FL Studio, if I can make beats and I can mix and master in Pro Tools, that's just going to increase my value as a as a musician, producer, and then it'll even turn me into an engineer and stuff. But of course, it's always the work that's going to have to be done in order to do that. So
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I totally agree with that. And even the idea of like learning all these various skills. I know some people are for and against it, but now I know more and more people are more so understanding that it's not a bad idea to diversify your skill set, and especially in the producing and the music industry. And I think recently I've been thinking about how to advertise or like showcase that I do have different skills. Like vocal mixing and even mixing and mastering songs is something I've started to do more so over the past couple of years and gotten much better. Yeah, much better. But I think advertising that or like showing that off, I've been thinking of a few ways. But yeah, I don't know. I think like I'll figure out a website or something like that, or the one I have currently with like I have one kit on it right now, but it's a work in progress for sure. But anyways, yeah. Tell me a little bit more about what drove you. You know, you said you were doing these kits because you were interested in doing so. You were interested in the final product. What was that process like? Were there inspirations you were drawing from other producers that you saw online that were making certain samples? And who were your inspirations what was your process looking like during that time?
For the sound design section, I would say like, Nick Mira, like, it's just like, I forgot who said this. It was TM88, but he said that when you're making beats, you want to like kind of mimic the beats that when you're first starting to make beats, or even to this day, if you're a pro at making beats and there's someone that's on the next level as you're naturally going to want to mimic that to get better. So in terms of the sound design, I'm like, okay, this dude Nick Mira is dropping just a bunch of these drum kits. I want to learn how to just make them. So I'm just going to find an 808 and listen to it and see like, okay, how can I make an 808 like that? Look at his organization. Okay, how can I organize a kit like that? What do I gotta put? Claps, rims, these are perks, these are snares. And learning all of that, just diving into that kind of helped me just get more into the drum kit game and just realize, oh, so these are what I gotta make, these open hats, and I gotta make these rim shots, and it even had me like learning new things like, oh, these are percussions and these are percussion loops. And there's still a lot more I gotta learn too, because I want to dive into like even deeper drum kits. Like one day I want to actually get a actual drum kit and turn into like some sort of like boom bap kit or something, just so I can have more diversity within my catalog. So a lot of Nick Mira. Let me see. Just internet money in general. I think it was like Real Leva as well. But it was really just on bro's stream as he just pulled up his 808. I'm like, dang, he just gets to make beats with his own sounds. Like that's just dope to me.
Right.
That's just nice
cool
to me.
Yeah.
Like instead of looking for like, cause I had a bunch of drum kits already, but I don't know. It was just something about them internet money kits that every producer can just say it was just different, bro. No matter how you got them,
facts.
it was just it was just different. They were just different, So that would say what drove the inspiration and what kept me pushing. And just the idea of the creativity you can have with making your own product. I would just love to experiment with GFX and try. That was my first time learning Photoshop to even get a kit GFX and or upload it to my website that I use on this this no name service provider. It wasn't even Shopify. I was using some freaking BS. But it was just the fact that I'm doing it and I'm actually creating something for myself. And then once I got really good, I was like, okay, let's put it out to the people. And I dropped like a $6 drum kit. I had like 300 followers. At like my first $6 sale. I'm like, oh my god, like this is dope. Like, what did we just do? So it was that, but most importantly, what drove it was the creativity of and just being a music producer in general. Like Ill Mind made a post like, bro, you get to really do a lot of things as a music producer. It's kind of like it's really a lit lifestyle for real once you get to that peak. And that was just way satisfying to me than, no offense to anybody doing this, because I respect it, but I would say working a job. Like I just didn't really have that type of clock in. And obviously if you gotta do what you gotta do, but since I was like super young at the time and I didn't even have to, I might as well just put all this time into building my own business and just doing what I can do for myself. So that's just my mentality on it. And
once you put out your first kit, you start making maybe a sale, maybe two, however it goes for you, or maybe more. I don't know. Like but
yeah, like for sure two.
Okay. So, but once you do that, was there at any point or even always like, what's your what does it look like when you're putting out kits? Do you have certain quotas? Are you having certain schedules put for yourself, or are you totally leaning on just when when a kit's done, it'll be done, then I'll put it out?
No, I would say that was definitely what you just said, that second part. That was definitely for when I was in my early stages. 1,000 followers, 900 followers. Okay, kit's done, put it out. But now, I have my brand Waves Crate. Sort of like I kind of want it to be like a producer grind where it's just like a kit site and a sound site and resources that producers come to use it. So I'm thinking now, like, now that I'm more established and bigger than when I was like 3 years ago, I have to put a rollout together. I have to put a specific date together. I have to put these schedules together. And honestly, it's nothing draining about it. There's no creativity being taken out of it. It's just a little different compared to when I could just, you know, because I made a drum kit in one whole day before it. I know that sounds crazy, but
Right.
Or it sounds like I'm not working hard enough on it. But it was some really great sounds. But it was just like I definitely knocked out that next day, but it was worth it for sure. But you know, now it's kind of like what you were just saying. I do put together a schedule now. I do put together days. Just because I got so much stuff to do now. Like back then, I could just play around and be like, okay, let me just make a drum kit today. Now I actually have schedules. Okay, I gotta make a pack for this guy. I gotta make some YouTube videos. I gotta make some shorts. I gotta practice my piano. I gotta learn my guitar. I have to write this down. And you know, this is all the stuff that I wished for 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I wanted to have a schedule. I wanted to have something every day to put on my calendar and to put on my list. And have a specific drop date and have rollouts and hype and build hype around the kits because I wanted it something to be that was remembered for real, you know. So
yeah,
and I just feel like having the rollouts and the hype will just have your kits be I don't know, more long term, because back then when I used to just drop, they would get like, when I was like kind of established, they would get like pretty good sales around the first like a few weeks, but after that they would just, you know, die down.
Right.
So now I'm just looking for more like long term. So that's why I put more in my kits now too, because people want to have, you know, more multi kits and stuff. So I want them to be able to use it. And I want anybody to be able to access it and just keep using it and keep using it and keep using it until I can drop the new version and stuff. So I'm just looking for more of that longevity and that long term stuff now than just okay, make a kit, push it out there. So that's why I'm spending more time, and that's why I can't drop a kit like I used to anymore. Like I used to just go crazy and stuff. But who knows, maybe people will want me to revert back and just be like, yo bro, just freaking drop, which sometimes I'd be like, you know what, and I would say a good mix, because maybe I would just drop a portal bank. That would do well too. So it's just all about, you know, how often can you push out content, schedule or not, can you just push that out there? So
yeah. And what kind of advice would you have for producers that are trying to maybe push out more content? Yeah, like how much is a good amount? How much is not enough? Or is there any quotas or sort of guidelines you could give to producers looking to get into more content?
I would say whatever doesn't burn you out.
Okay.
Like if you can keep going, then keep going. Like the number one thing you have to have in this, you know, this industry that we work in is consistency and momentum. You know, you can't just like, as far as I know, you can't really just, and I fell into this trap even on YouTube. I stopped for like 4 months. I didn't upload a video for 5 months just because you just get into that rut of like, man, you know what? I just want to go on Instagram. I just want to cook up loops. I just want to do this, you know what I'm saying? And it's not even out of like, it can probably be a little bit of laziness, but I think I was just kind of burnt out because, I don't know. I was kind of looking at like YouTube like a task and like a chore. And so with the content, my advice to you now and to I was even say like my future self is just don't look at it like a chore, because you can only be burnt out if you're doing something like you don't really want to do. But if the content you're posting is like, you know, it's getting you towards something, it's helping you grow, and if you're not being burnt out of it and you like doing it and you don't feel any sort of like it's not messing with your soul or nothing, I would just say keep going and post as much as possible. Like make sure the quality is there too. But you know, we live in a world where we got shorts, we got TikTok, we just got a bunch of stuff that's just being posted and just posted and posted and posted. There's robot shorts on YouTube, no face people on YouTube that's making thousands, and they don't even show their face. They don't even know who they are. They're like AI that's making them tens of $1,000s for them. And so, but the reason why they're making those thousands is because they keep posting and they have stuff for people to linger on, because you got to know your audience. Like people, you know, a lot of people can just sit on content all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably even know some people. I know some people who could just sit on content and watch reels all day, just never have enough content. And I would just say, if it doesn't burn you out, man, just keep dropping them kits like every 2 weeks or every month. Just keep dropping them YouTube videos and always keep finding a way to improve them as well. Make sure the quality is good and to revise yourself, because you don't just want to keep dropping the same stuff over and over again, of course, but you want to have that consistency and that upgrade material for your content too. And I'm saying, like, once you got that consistency, then it's gonna kill, man. So just keep growing with that.
Facts. The consistency's always been a huge thing, and it just keeps getting more and more important. And then also the, you know, obviously the making it better every time. That's something that I mean, it makes so much sense, but I saw like there was some successful YouTuber, either Mr. Beast or a different one. They had some interview, and one of the things they said was just like they did this, or they recommend to just like improve one little tiny thing each video, especially when you're first starting out. And especially when I started making more content with the podcast, I was doing that. I could still do more of it for sure. But even little improvements, it's crazy how, you know, how far they can take it. And even the process of just learning one little thing or improving one little thing.
Yeah, because that can compound for real.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're talking to someone like me who I just started sound design recently, I'm still learning, and I'm learning a lot of, like, you know, just synthesis, digital synthesis, subtractive synthesis. I'm looking right now, I'm working with the Arturia stuff, but anyways, I'm still learning. But I'm only making sounds, melodic sounds. When it comes to drum kits, is that like what is the process of making a drum kit? How much of that is putting together other sounds? How much of that is recording sounds? How much of that is just synthesizing sounds? And what does that look like?
It could be a mixture. Me personally, I work with a lot of putting together and processing. So I use, like, this is some sauce, but I use this VST called this Chop Suey, and you can take it's called Chop Suey, and it has a beginning, middle, and the end. I'm not a sound design goat, so I completely forgot. One of them is like transient or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
And then sometimes I would either take my old sounds or one of my homies, and I would process it, mix it up, you know, chop it up, because I feel like there's this little, I don't know, I have this thing where it's like, oh, you take other people's sound? Nah, bro. You just take the sound, process it, and make it your own. Make it different.
Yeah.
Put it together in like that Chop Suey plugin, and you could either put it at the end, the middle, or the beginning, and you could kind of see where I'm going with this. If you have like 3 different sounds, you could create a whole new sound with that, because they're taking different parts from those different sounds. So if you have like this one snare and you put that at the end, you have one at the end, and you have I don't know, you put together a perk with the snare. This is what I do. A perk with the snare, put the perk part in the beginning. And it's just like, you just got to randomize it up. So sometimes I do a snare and an open hat, a snare and a kick. It's just like, you never know what you can do with that. But I've been using that plugin. That's, you know, you got some sauce, because I don't really
I was gonna say that was sauce. That was big.
I don't really tell nobody about, because you could obviously do it in FL Studio, but it's not gonna sound as good.
Right.
And my boy Chaotic, if you see this, my bad, I have to spill it. But he probably don't care. He got hecka tricks up his sleeve. So it's just one VST. But that's just raindrop in the thunderstorm in terms of the sound design, all of that. Because you could just do a bunch of stuff, even go to Serum and try to make a kick drum. I have yet to go into that. A lot of people ask me, but I'm not gonna lie and be like, yeah. Nah, bro. No, right now, all I do right now, and I know I got a lot to learn too. I just mix a bunch of sounds, find some new plugins to process them through, and just layer and stack a bunch. And sometimes I may have something crispy, and sometimes I may have something that's terrible and not usable at all. So it's just really the matter of just playing with sounds, playing with the ends, the middles, distortions, choruses, phasers, delays, and just making some cool stuff. But if anybody really wants to, like, because I would also say having having a good sound design ear can also come from listening to other people's sounds, just like I did with Nick Mira when I was beginning. Like now I do it with this guy named DB and The Wizard. These guys have a drum kit, and like all their sounds are like like the whole industry's talking about the kit. I think it's called Distra. So like these sounds are just like different, and it brought a whole new change to like the drum kit game. I kind of feel like even if you're not aware of it, it's still kind of popular in the community right now. Like people like, you got the Distra kit, like yeah, it's something that's going around in
you
the
just
hip hop.
put me on because I didn't know that. I've been kind of out of it.
Yeah. It's the Distra series, and just listening to their sounds, you're like, okay, you know what? That sounds like some Bit Crusher on it. I never added Bit Crusher on my stuff. Let me do that to try to get a similar sound to theirs. And shout out to Wizard too, man, because he would tell me like, yo man, give you some feedback, like, yo man, I like that new drum kit, but some of them sounds, they were a little flat. You know, you should try to put some distortion on this. And I'm like, okay. So I'm constantly learning off of the other people's craft. And if I'm always doing that, and this goes for anything too, if YouTube, you know, real short, just learn off of what other people are doing and mix it in with your own sauce to create a whole new formula. And that's what I recommend for the sound design too. Like, and that goes for anything. Analog Lab, you wanna, I got Louis Flynn, his sound design course for Analog Lab.
Yeah, same. He's great. Yeah.
Even though I only got like one video in out of 200, it's like I still got so much to learn.
Yeah.
That excites me as a producer. So I'm always just looking out for new sounds and stuff, and just seeing how I can implement it into my process.
Yeah, I just started doing more of that again, and it's definitely inspired me a lot more, like just looking into newer drum kits, but I didn't hear about Distra. And when you say DB, is that Dark Boy you're talking about, or is that a different DB?
His name is prod.db.
Oh, okay.
Man, and watching his come up, like I would say he's definitely one of the next upcoming hip hop producers right now. He signed to ATL Jacob.
Okay.
So
cool.
So he's just like, he's really up next, man. He has songs with Kanye, Future, and just a really hard worker. So that's why I bring him up. Like a lot of hip hop producers in the trap scene, like know who DB is. So once you just, you know, find those type of guys, find their kits and stuff, like look at their process, look at how they cook up and stuff. It's like it's a whole crazy world that you could just enter in, because you realize like, okay, I got a lot of work to do, but that's good. I got a lot of work to do. I can work on this.
For sure.
That inspires me.
Yeah, I'm the same way, 100%. The more I get tapped into those types of things and these other producers and what they're up to, it's a different. It changes the perspective a little bit too, and just inspires me for sure.
Of course. There's people like you and me who probably take that and mix it, but then again, there's also a lot of producers who will just take the whole sound and just make it their own thing. And I'm just like, okay, guys, like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah.
Like,
there's been some weird things. Yeah, it used to be a lot of like, and I'm definitely like, I was guilty of this super early on when I first started out. But like a lot of producers would really just rip each other's, not even just sounds, like even the logos, YouTube templates, all that stuff, right? So and yeah, there's definitely a line between like, being inspired by and and there's never any exactly, and ripping straight, and there's never any issues with crediting either if you feel like it, or if you feel that it's appropriate, not in every situation obviously, but there's definitely certain situations where I'm more inclined to just be like, oh yeah, shout out to whoever for this.
100. I'm the same way. It's funny you mentioned that. I'm like, it's to the point where like I always thought about this. If I make like a beat knowing that it's in the same style as someone else, and I get like a huge placement off it, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro, like the inspiration really comes from this guy, just because I got inspired off of it. I wanted to really make something like that, even though it is my creation. I just, like you just said, I like to pay homage to the original creators and stuff. So just having that trait as a person, anybody watching this, just make sure, always pay homage to the original people, man. Never just try to take anything for your own unless it is your own.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I totally agree. Like more often than not, and I learned that early, because there were times when I was earlier on that I didn't give credit in certain areas because I didn't think it really applied. And and I'm still, you know, some people are over the top with that stuff and they'll come at you for nothing. But, you know, I've definitely had some people at the time, like, you know, come at me for things similar to that. And I just didn't think about it at the time. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Okay. I have to be more, it's just better to give it, you know, rather than not, if you can, again, depending on the situation.
100%.
Yeah. So what else are you up to now? What does your life look like? Is producing a huge part of it? Is it all of it? Is it, you know, what are you focused on right now? Just in general.
Well, I got out of school early, so next year I would be a senior in high school, so I have like a whole year to really just work with this, you know, this music craft. Like I said, I've been doing it for about 3-4 years. So I really just want to take it to the top, man. I want to get like just a bunch of people, you know, aware of my sound, aware of my content, aware of my brand. And I always want to keep improving it. So I would say this is like 90% of my life. And the other 10% is like basketball. Or no, I would say that this is like 80%. Other 10% would be basketball. And the other 10% would be spent. I would call my common core, which would be my exercises, dieting, meditations, reading, instrument practice, which goes into music, but you know what I mean.
For sure, yeah.
And just philosophy in general and studies. So that's what I would say. But music is music is my life right now. But I really dedicate at least like 2 hours of my day to playing basketball because I really just like basketball too. You know, shout out Miami in 7, please.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, like I don't really go out too much. The only time I go out is for, you know, runs, try to get a mile a day. And I like to stay on routine. It's very recent too, like very, very recent because I would really just go in and out of like trying to get on schedule and just, you know, slacking off and doing whatever I want to do just because I'm just, you know, to be real with you, I'm just getting out of the mindset of just letting time pass. I used to wake up at like freaking 12 o'clock p.m., get on reels and just having all of this to manage. Now I have so much to manage. It's like, I won't be able to do that anymore, you know? And I'm just being honest. You know, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people watching this who's telling me like, how do you stay, you know, how do you stay consistent? And I'm gonna tell you like, hey, I'm pretty recent with that. I'm still trying to grasp that because, you know, sometimes you just wanna relax, man. You just wanna kick back and just do whatever, man. But it's just getting into that mindset of like, you just gotta go hard, you gotta work. And so that's what I'm really focused on right now. Just having a lot of plans with the music and a lot of plans with just self-development and self-improvement. And so this is like, you know, this is my life right now. All my like friends are like in Atlanta, LA. So I'm really trying to work towards to get into those markets, trying to get an apartment before this winter. So I just got a lot of stuff to work on, you know, like not really going to school like that, you know, doing virtual and online. I didn't really have any like, you know, real life friends to talk to. Cause and even if I did, I'm pretty sure not really many of them would resonate with me either in terms of what I'm doing, just cause they're completely you know, I don't know, goofing off or something. But
yeah,
I'm just glad I made a lot of friends that are on the same path that I am, who's goal oriented, and who kind of has the same, not the same, but who has a vision just like me, compared to just being, you know, I mean, I'm in Missouri, man. It's not a lot of, you know, it's not to just generalize, but in my area, there's just, come on. So I'm pretty sure it's the same for you. I mean, you're in Ottawa, right? Like,
yeah, like Ottawa's not bad, but I was in Kingston for a while, and that was definitely like a smaller, I don't want to say small town. It was like in between a small town and a city, but still quite small. So yeah, like definitely growing up, it was yeah.
Compared to going to LA, you're like, oh, like, it's good. Are you trying to work?
100%. Yeah, like even going down to because I was in Toronto. Like even when I go down to Toronto, it's crazy. It's like so different than that. Ottawa's not bad. It's definitely a lot better than Kingston. Kingston's getting better too, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it's also Canada. Like I feel like in the States, it'd be probably different. Like just I feel like it'd be different in the States. The schooling system's different down there too.
Right. I'm curious about what your day to day looks like as well.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm in school. I started up my classes again in university, so I'm finishing up, or I'm trying to finish up my degree as fast as I can, but I'm still, obviously taking my time, making sure I'm doing it right. So I'm in computer science right now. So, yeah.
That would have been and I'm definitely like, even though I did, I got my GED to be specific. Like, even though I did all that, like, I be telling my friends, like, guys, I'm really trying to, one day when I got the music stable and stuff, I'm trying to go back to college, man. I'm just trying to go to college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like,
yeah.
it's just like there's so much stuff to learn. And
Yeah.
like, oh, God, like, what are you doing? Like, so, I'm going to say, like, if this, like, music stuff never came into play, that's what I was going to go to school for as well, computer science. So I applied for that. That's great, man.
Thank you, man. Tough. Yeah. It's been I've been on and off with it. I've been like, kind of, I'll pause my degree and then I'll go back and then I'll pause in it. But they've been, honestly, shout out to that university because they've been amazing about it. But yeah, so I'm now, I'm starting it back up. I'm taking summer classes as well. So I'm definitely dedicating more time to that. Podcast, I'm trying to be as consistent, definitely more than last year, which I'm already doing. So I'm happy with that. I was trying to do it weekly, but I'm good with what's going on right now. Even if it's twice a month right now, I'm fine with that. So yeah, if I have to do TikTok, like clips from the podcast, I'll do that as well. I'll try to stay. I could definitely do better with that though. Sure. But I've got a couple things going on. I think right now my thing is I have a lot on my plate, so I'm trying to reintroduce working out back into it. And you talk about basketball, summer's here now. So, I don't know what the weather's like there, but at least here, like, obviously it's Canada, it gets quite cold. So summer now it's warmer. I can finally step out on a basketball court, cause that's all I grew up playing. I love basketball.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah. I love basketball. And,
you watch NBA?
Well, bro, I got back into it because I'm a Lakers fan, which kind of sounds like bad, like as a Lakers fan. I know. Yeah, okay. It sounds bad, but I honestly, to be real, like I definitely haven't kept up with the NBA for like 5 years, like heavy. Okay, yeah. Like I used to watch like definitely more all the time. I used to watch the finals every year type thing, but
hey, same with me,
I'll be
though.
in and out. Yeah,
I recently just really got back into it, but growing up, I was just like nonstop watching NBA reactions.
Yeah, exactly.
NBA YouTubers, YouTube basketball players. My life was basketball. I was just never good at it. Now I've been like, real talk. I only been playing for like 2 months, and I'm starting to get a little nice at it. But before then, I was really just watching it. I'll play in school a little bit, but I was just never good at it. Now I'm just practicing more. Like I said, recently implementing the routines, and I just feel myself getting better at it. But yeah, I was gonna say, if you watched the game last night, dude, going stupid. I was going.
Oh yeah, sure. I was sucks. I didn't catch it. It really sad.
Did you hear about it though?
Oh, 100%. Bro, I heard it's very unfortunate that I didn't catch it, because I was even thinking, I usually watch fights on weekends, like the UFC, and they didn't have any like big fight event. Like they had something, but it wasn't like a normal fight. I didn't know I could catch. I didn't know I could catch the fucking finals, and I'm pissed I missed it, bro, because after seeing all the Twitter, like everything go down about it, it sucked. Yeah,
well, it's still the playoffs. So if you still want to just like the finals will be like in June 1st, so in like a few days. So I'm definitely tuning into that. But it was a specific game last night where it just man, dude. So, but yeah, that's dope though. That's dope.
Yeah, I'll have to look at the highlights. Like, what else? I feel like we were talking about something, and I like you said something. Fuck. It was important.
Take your time, no worries.
No, you're good. Oh yeah, my day to day. But yeah, no, that's what I've been up to. I mean, I'm gonna get back into it's the fitness part that I've been kind of slacking on for like 3 weeks now. So I got to just get back in the gym and get back into, I've taken up like Muay Thai and boxing this year, and that's been really good.
Oh, nice. You box too?
Yeah, you box?
No, I'm trying to get into it though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, honestly, man, like I kept telling myself I would get into it, and I just like, I just waited. I regret not doing it soon. It's everything I expected. So definitely recommend. I definitely recommend it. Definitely try it out.
Right. Yeah, I got a punching bag and everything, you know.
Oh, okay, word. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a punching bag and everything. And you know, me, I'm really like, I'm a shorter guy, so
Yeah.
I gotta learn how to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I gotta learn how to fight out here.
For
but
sure.
that's
For
definitely
sure.
something I want to do. I gotta just, like I said, I'm now like building my
Yeah.
routines. I want to implement it somewhere. I just got
Sure.
running. I got music. I got this, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
I
you
can
got
get
a lot.
at least like 20-30 minutes just a day, at least something.
Yeah, for sure. You said you mentioned dieting. Is that something you're like still kind of focused on, or you at least pay attention to? Like,
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I just feel like the diet is really, that's like, it goes a lot into just how you work and how you function.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily be like on fasting or intermediate fasting, but just in terms of, because I used to just be like sweets, junk food a lot. Like I said, like if you didn't see me, like I was bumming out in like 13, 14. I was just kind of bumming out.
Yeah.
Face will break out and stuff like that. And I have like my parents, my dad's African American, my mom is Asian, Cambodian. So she has like some crazy genes to where like if I ate some super processed, greasy, American foods, I would just get the breakout and stuff.
Right.
And so just having, two parents with those genetics, I'm just like, okay, I just can't eat like a normal person, as you would say. I just can't eat, the McDonald's. So in terms of that, I really try to now because there's not a lot of stuff in Missouri that's really like, if I was in Florida, I'll maybe just get some nice, some veggie tacos, some Cuban food, maybe some of that. But down here, it's just like the closest thing you got to that is really just Chipotle.
Yeah.
So that's like healthy enough for me. I'll try to get like a, I don't know, like a like lifestyle bowl, what they call it, or a veggie bowl sometimes. Or, and since I am trying, I'm into the fitness, so I'm trying to bulk up, I do got to get my protein in too.
Oh, yeah, facts.
Even though I am on the diet, I still, I'm not no like vegan or nothing yet, but I'm still like eating, a lot of like protein and a lot of meat and stuff like that, like chicken and steak and stuff. But Chipotle is really like the healthiest alternative I got aside from going like with salads and stuff. So that's what I mean by that. But I'm not too crazy. Like I said, I really just got into it, like, but in terms of just the foods, I really just been straying off of a lot of sweets and a lot of sugar and a lot of junk. But I just feel great, you know what I'm saying? And anybody watching this, producers, like, who knows, you may make better loops, man. Like the diet is really important. What you are what you eat, man. So what you put into your body is really important. Like I make sure to drink a bunch of water. And I would say that is a big part of my life because, even though I just can't eat whatever, I'm still glad I can't because this is just, how it is. So, and I just feel like I also felt like eating a bunch of like fast foods, I would just feel terrible, man. I would feel super tired and I would just crash out and take a nap and I just wouldn't feel as good compared to when I would just get something healthy from Chipotle. Or, like maybe take a day to just eat something light and then eat some fruit the rest of the day. Like that would also be another thing. But now I'm just starting to incorporate more fruits and vegetables into my current diet. What about you though? Like, do you pay attention to that or just,
Yeah, I've been definitely paying more attention to that same thing. I mean, I've always been a pretty skinny guy, and like over the past couple years, I've been on and off with like trying to bulk, and then I'll kind of go off, because I've always found the diet part the hardest, which obviously it's the most important, if not one of, it's just as important as going to the gym. So. So yeah, I would always have a lot of trouble sustaining that heavy protein intake, but that's not an excuse. It's just really just like one of those things where I just have to plan it out and just continue and sustain it.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think overall I have definitely paid more attention to it, like, and I'm learning how to cook more and more meals. Nice. And like definitely good, healthy meals, solid protein, everything in those. So I'm trying to just get like a good arsenal of those. Um, yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, it's not perfect though. It could definitely be better. And I think it usually happens once I get back into the gym and, get into that exercise, fighting, whatever, which this is the week that I'm back in it anyways.
Right.
I definitely tend to eat healthier anyways. It's just one of those things where it's like one good habit too will just help your other good habits and kind of cascade
that was in the
them.
book too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
What do you mean book?
It's the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, yeah.
You read that?
I never read it, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've like taken certain concepts. Yeah, for sure.
It's what you just said about the habit. It's called habit stacking, to where you just have one good one, and you're just like, okay, now I got this one. Let me see how I can just build off of that. And it's like once you got one, it can kind of be hard to flow into the next one, depending on what type of person you are. Yeah. But I would just say it was just easier for me. Like once I got one thing done, I just want to go get the next thing done, and the next thing, and the next thing. Once you just start, you just you don't finish until you're done. So that's what I mean by the book. Is like cool. That's one of the keys in there.
That's cool. I have to look into that actually. I always put off that book. Because I love books like that.
Right.
But I'll have to look into it because that's one that I'm sure I love habits in general. Like so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a great read, man. Super quick and easy too. Cause he sets it up to where, okay, this chapter may be short because he knows how the brain works. Like I don't want to sit here and
that's funny.
It's so crazy. So,
that's cool.
That's fire.
Yeah.
You in the books? How many you read like?
Yeah,
any like monthly books? Like I see in the back.
Yeah.
Jeez, you got a lot.
That's it. Yeah, I mean that's not. Yeah, I have a few more. That's just like for what I put on the window, and it's not great for the books, but whatever. I just like I read a ton. But what were you asking?
I was just saying, do you read like one book a month or 2 books a month, like something like that, or you just whenever?
Yeah, it's more whenever. Like I'm always reading something. I'm really bad at finishing books, but it's like something I used to feel really bad about. But now I'm more so like I've heard other like people I kind of look up to. They've said things like as long as you can take what you need from your book, like there's nothing wrong with just taking what you need from the book and putting it down and not really necessarily finishing the whole entire book. So I'm kind of in and out multiple books, and I have a ton of bookmarks for that reason. And I even posted on my story the other day, like these magnetic bookmarks are dope.
I saw that. I was like, I need to get one.
Yeah, but someone was like, "Oh, you just heard about these?" I was like, "Bro, whatever, bro." Like, but I don't really have like a set amount, but I'm always carrying around a book with my bag and stuff. Like always, at least one, sometimes two.
Nice.
But right now, bro, I got into. It's called Creativity Inc., and it's by Ed Catmull, I think is his name, and basically he was like the co-founder of Pixar. Yeah. He was the co-founder of Pixar, and I think he did some time at Disney too. But he he's behind the success of Toy Story, like computer animation.
Nice.
But that doesn't put enough into it. Like the book, I mean, it's recommended highly, and when even the first couple pages, I was hooked. Yeah, and I didn't realize how much computer science. Like I didn't realize he was a computer scientist, so it kind of adds another element because he talks about how he's a computer scientist, but he's talking about how he's like maximizing creativity in his workplaces and his environments. And so it's kind of cool to see, like, I've always been that type of person where I have my creative side, but I love my, computer science and like my academic side. So to see him put both together and see so much success with Pixar and Toy Story, it's a really definitely a good read it so far.
Oh yeah. Anybody who created Toy Story gotta be a good read, man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so that goes a lot for, I would say, the production side too of music, like that creativity, man. This is what you got that paints the picture on the canvas, man. So I'm gonna definitely give it a read, because if it's talking, you just already named some really good points into what I'm looking towards, like maximizing creativity and environment. So I'm gonna bookmark that.
Yeah, that's a great one. It's definitely good with like he talks about maximizing it, especially within groups. Like he talks about individual as well. And the entire book, he says the premise is behind like removing these blocks behind creativity. And he said over his years, he's seen all of the blocks that, arise within individually and then within these groups that he's worked in. So it's definitely cool, especially if you know, and obviously as producers, I think striving to work with more people is definitely, you know, something we should do. So it's good to know those blocks, and I definitely look forward to learning more.
100%.
Yeah, man. Okay, take me through. Let's go through some quick, like, just some of your favorite VSTs. Let's talk about, you know, maybe processing. You know, Chop Suey. That's a dope, you know, gem you drop. But if you have any other processing ones in general for any ones, and then you can name other VSTs too, obviously, if you want.
Yeah, so I really work with a lot of this company called Audio Thing.
Yeah.
We love Soundtoys, but the Arturia effects are super slept on. I recently got the UAD. It's called UAD Spark. It's a subscription, but it's the universe. Are you familiar with the Universal Audio plugins?
Bro, yeah, I was gonna ask, how is Spark? Is it good? Is it worth it?
Spark is pretty good. I just feel like it doesn't have enough. I wish there were more.
Okay,
but they're pretty good. If you have like the actual UAD ones, I'm pretty sure there's more of those, but I think you have to actually have a freaking interface? Like what's it called? Yeah, the actual. I have a Vault interface by Universal Audio, but it's not an Apollo, so I didn't get.
Doesn't a Vault work or no?
I didn't get the incentive for the plugins. I think you have to have an Apollo. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But I didn't get any free VSTs with it. But I had to get the Spark ones. That's a subscription. I work with a lot of Waves plugins. Those recent. I think those are recently just became subscriptions.
Yeah.
If you can't, because back then I think you had to just buy the whole Waves plugins, but now it's like $14 a month. I'm like, whoa.
So, yeah. Did they roll that back, or was it like what happened with that?
I don't know. Because, you know, let's be honest. Like I had the Waves plugins somehow else. You know, I really didn't.
Yeah.
So, but now that I switched to the Mac, you know, I had to, you know, log in and do my thing. And I was like, okay, dang, I don't want to freaking cash out on this today. But then they had some subscriptions. I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just get that. $14 a month. Yeah. A little 30-day free trial too. We love those.
For sure.
What else? I forgot the people who made Moog. I think Moog. Oh yeah, Moog has some plugins. I think they just got
plugins.
Yeah, they just got released. Moog has plugins, bro. You can just look it up. Yeah, those are released, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, I'm
I'll
sure
just pull that up to the side. I'll just okay, and then you mentioned you moved to the Mac. What was the reason behind that switch?
Well, I was really a Mac person. My first real computer, because my first ever computer that I downloaded that Ableton on was my dad's laptop. It was a Windows, but it was slow, so I couldn't really do any content on there. But I really turned up on content when I got to the Windows computer, and that was real. I'm tripping. The Mac, sorry. I really got to the Mac computer, and I was really like, that was really nice. And I was really working on it with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And that, like, I didn't know what that was. It was like 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage.
Yeah.
It was the lowest of the low. I have a maxed out with 96 gigabytes now. So I'm just spazzing. I'm just going crazy with the plugins.
96 gigabytes? Oh,
yeah, RAM, bro.
That just hit, bro. That's crazy. Oh my god.
I'm like, wait a minute. I was working crazy on the 8 gigabyte. Well, let me see what this is about to do. So
96 is crazy.
Everybody got the same reaction. I'm like, I know, bro. Like, but hey, bro, hey, man. I'm gonna be honest. It was a huge chunk, but I just feel like it's worth it just cause, and it's the M2 Max chip. It's just like it's really new. Yeah. And I'm just, you know, of course I got so much of my friends like, you know, man, come on, bro. You could have just got a 4K, upgraded that. You can't upgrade the Mac. And I'm like, I know. But I'm trying to tell these guys, like, I'm a Mac person. Like, everything's just smoother on the Mac. Of course, there's some things that, you know, people were talking about, like acquiring plugins. Like, you can't, you know, crack any plugins on the Mac. And I'm like, you know what, man? Like that's why I keep talking about subscriptions. I'm like, that's the new wave, man. Like, if you really have that income, you could just pay a little $14. I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like my Mac right now and just the Mac in general, like especially these silicon chips, are just super powerful. But I'm really not the one to debate about that Mac versus Windows. I personally think it's a preference, and my preference is I like my Mac. It makes no sound. It's dead silent every time I load up Omnispheres.
It's a MacBook Pro, right?
Yeah, it's a MacBook Pro. The 16-inch.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. And the 96 is like super new. That I went to the Apple store and they didn't even have it. They was like, "What? I didn't even know."
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, bro."
that's crazy.
I had to go to this other shop to get it. This place called Micro Center, but it's like Apple really outdid themselves with this. And I got an iPhone. I got an Apple Watch. I'm like, it just makes sense, man. Like I got the AirDrop feature too. Obviously, I could just email it, but come on, it's AirDrop.
Yeah, so, their ecosystem is crazy. It's so good. It's
man,
not
like
comparable.
Apple's getting the healthcare. It's just like, come on, guys. Like you go to the Apple store, get some Apple tech support in person. You can't go to like a Microsoft store. You got to go to Best Buy, Geek Center. But all of that is just like people can like whatever they say.
Definitely preference.
Preference, but I just feel like that Mac is really nice, especially this one. This has really been a killer. But 96. Hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you'd have many issues with your Mac, bro.
Oh yeah, for you have Windows or Mac?
I have a Windows laptop for producing, and then for my I have like for some school stuff and other stuff I do have a MacBook Pro. It's not as like it's just nothing crazy, but it's still pretty solid. It's really nice. I love it. In the future, I definitely do want to look into the move to Mac for sure. Like, I've been very comfortable with my current laptop. Like my Windows, I've upgraded it so much that it's just been running me so nice for so many years. It's just getting to the point where it's definitely getting outdated. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, of course. And that's one thing I will miss. Like they also said like, hey bro, it's going to cost a fortune if you ever break that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I can't, take the stuff out. And that's the one thing I'll miss. Like, dang. But I mean, with the specs I got, man, I better have at least 5-6 years on this boy. Like,
easily.
Come on, man. So, but though. So back to the plugins though. It's called the Mooger Fooger effects plugins.
Okay.
And I haven't had them. Yeah. I haven't had them, but I've seen people use them. I've seen the effects and stuff, and they're pretty solid. It's those, like I said, the UAD. I'm gonna actually have to load on my FL.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on custom mixer chains too. Put a Mooger Fooger with a UAD, like just start playing with those and creating your own mixer chains. I just feel like having that is just like, if you have certain presets, like let's say you want to make an ambient pad or something and you have a certain chain for that, just save that. And next time, let's say you want to put on a synth, you want to have an ambient pad synth, just put that on the synth. That's really slept on, those mixer change. We mess with Good Hertz, GHZ, Eventide. We love the Eventide. We mess with Valhalla. Let's see. I don't know who the company who made Corey Wong Archetype. If you guys want to have guitar emulations, like those are really nice. I love Guitar Rig because you can just put that on anything. You don't even have to put it on a guitar. And if you do put it on a guitar, it just makes it sound goated. So Guitar Rig is nice. A lot of Native Instruments plugins. And so those are the effects. I'm pretty sure there's some more. Hold on. Yeah, I already said Soundtoys. In terms of like the VSTs and stuff, I don't really have any secret VSTs. I use the same thing as everybody else. Arturia. I recently got the subscription for something called Opus East West. Those are pretty cool, I guess. They're just really big. You just gotta have like an external SSD for that.
Right.
Because it's like freaking 72 gigabyte banks. It's just like Kontakt. It's like a Kontakt alternative. But I love Kontakt, and specifically Teletone audio banks from Kontakt. You ever heard of those?
Yo, I have one from them. I have the Postcard piano, but that's the only one I have. I don't have any other ones. Are they? Which ones are?
I got all of them, bro, and they're just worth it, man. Like there's the Vespertone.
Oh.
The Vespertone is mallets. The Ondine is like more synths. Le Gibet, for Le Gibet or whatever, I think it's French, is like more like Travis Scott, Mike Dean stuff. Scarbo is like darker synths and stuff.
Yeah, that sounded
Scarbo's
dope.
really nice.
Yeah.
And I forgot who made these things. Slate plus Ash. This popular this upcoming sample maker, Steven Schaefer. This guy uses a bunch of Slate plus Ash, and I use it too. I use something called Cycles. And these are all Kontakt banks. Landforms.
Okay.
Choreographs, and those are just super dope banks. We love the Spitfire audio. Love all Spitfire audio, everything actually. Spitfire Audio Labs too, for my free people out there. You want to get something nice and free, just download a bunch of those. I downloaded it once I got this new Mac. I was never able to download all the Labs bank libraries before since my storage, but I just downloaded all the Labs banks. They're really worth it, and they're all free too, except for some of them.
Yeah.
But 90% are free. This new Kontakt bank called Tapes.01 is really like for a bunch of tape simulation, as in like tape melody sounds. And let's see, I already said Arturia. We mess with Omnisphere, of course. Xenology is great. And something that's very slept on is Cradle the Prince. People are starting to drop, including myself. I'm making a Cradle the Prince preset bank.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, there's it's kind of new, and I feel like it's definitely next up because, bro, I had some crazy sounds, and I even was able to. I think the Wheezy used it, but Wheezy was messing with this melody that I made using the Prince. And I was like, and that was the first time I was like, dude, this is really great, man. Like these sounds are really crazy. So there's barely any Prince banks out there, which hey man, it's a market. It's a market, upcoming market.
I didn't know I've never used that plugin, and I didn't know that preset banks were like gonna be a thing or anything for it. So I'll definitely look into the Prince. Oh yeah,
like I was sleeping on that first, but then I was like, wait a minute, Frank Dukes made this? No, I got it. I gotta get it.
Exactly.
Frank Dukes made this, but everything else Cradle. I use the God Particle by Cradle Audio. That is what is it, like a compressor? I use that to turn up all my samples. I just noticed a lot of people's samples are really like low as in sound, so I just use that to just boost the sound up, turn the volume up. And that's really a lot of sauce, because if you just combine if you combine all those effect plugins with the generators I just told y'all, man, like dude, you'll be making samples like crazy.
Exactly.
And don't forget these one-shot kits too, these phrase kits nowadays. Like I was saying on my live streams, like one-shot kits, and people are starting to do like accents and stuff, like little 2-3 second melody runs. Like they can be really good for adding that extra ear candy and stuff like that. So you just have to, if there's anyone who wants to know like any a melody tip or something, you just have to know how to use all of those correctly. You know what I'm saying? Or just experiment with all of those and just do what you can. Don't do too much crazy stuff, but just keep experimenting and play with the one shots. Put a mixer chain on the one shot and mix it with the Cradle Prince plugin. And I even have, I can't show you, but let me see if I can switch my camera. Are you familiar with any of the Prophets and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Prophet 10 over here.
Yo.
Over there. Yeah.
That's dope.
And then this,
I didn't know that. I love that would be between that or the Jupiter, but I love those. Yeah.
The Micro Freak by Arturia.
Oh, what do you think of that?
This is great. It's a very cheap. It's pretty cheap. It's like $300. And it has some really great noises, man. It has some really great sounds. And you can just play with so much. They got like some drums up in here that you can mess with. And I'm going to be using this for my next upcoming kit too. It's just really nice. And it's just different too, because the keys on here are just like, they're not actual like push down keys. The keys are just like touch sensitive. And so I don't know. I just really like different, unique, weird stuff. And this is definitely the weirdest it can get. I would recommend this if you're like on a budget and stuff, and you just want a dope synth to have.
Yeah.
But then again, there's also the forgot. There's 3 Arturia synth. There's something called the Poly Brute, the Mini Freak, and then I have the Micro Freak. The Mini Freak is bigger. I think that's more dope. I feel like, but the Micro Freak is like the smallest one, cheapest one. That's what I've got. And so I can get like, I was in my next synth. I was thinking of getting either. I don't know. The Mellotron is nice, man. The Mellotron is really nice. But people would tell me like, bro, just load the VST up. I'm like, okay, come on now. Like the real, I heard like some crazy melodies made from the real Mellotron that I can't get from the VSTs. I'm like, wait a minute, how do you get? But I started using the Mellotron VST more, and that's like a must-have though. There's some stuff in there that take for granted and look over. So.
I hear a lot of really dope sample makers say the same thing. The Mellotron is crazy slept on.
100%.
Yeah. All right, man.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
It's like real synths compared to like the VSTs and stuff. I just feel like the real ones have just more extra texture. Like the Prophet 10 is like the revised version of the Prophet 5. So it's like the Prophet 5 and the 10 kind of. And there's the Prophet 5 VST by Arturia. But you can just kind of tell when you just have that vintage feel and stuff. And that's what I was saying with the Mellotron.
Yeah. Is there any, I mean, we've discussed definitely a lot, answered a lot of my questions. Is there anything else you want to discuss? By the way, I appreciate all those VSTs because I have a bunch pulled up right now that I know. Like I've been meaning to check, and you've just kind of convinced me. But then there's a few here I've never even heard of that are super cool. I'm gonna check them out.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and I've noticed that about you, that you do drop a lot of gems, and like you're very open actually with sharing gems. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap up?
I would just say, man, once these, if you want, I could also do some clips too. We can do some collabs. So I have like this app I use to make some clips. So to all the people that are watching these clips and stuff, if you're a music producer, man, just make sure you always pace yourself with your routines. Always make sure you pace yourself with making the music and making the samples, and really just try not to get too lost in this, because it's a whole comparative game out here when it comes to watching other music producers and watching other people to get this and get that. But just always remember what your purpose is and what you're doing music for and why you're doing it, and that'll keep you in the right mindset in terms of getting to that next level. And always just keep working on whatever you got to work on, and just don't let others voice their opinions and let it change you. Just be yourself, man. Do the music for how you want to do it, and just create some good stuff. And I hope that everybody just learns some good stuff off of this. But that's really all I wanted to touch on, man. Just live life, man. And don't get too crazy about this, because I've just talked to so many people that can just like, they're just so lost into what they do. Like, is my name whack, man? Like, I don't know about my name. Like, I'm just like, dude, like, do what you want, man. That's my main thing for all this whole thing, guys. Just do what you want, man, and do what is what's good for your soul and what's curing you. That's it, man.